Where does yesterday's future meet today's? Right here, right now. Here's Bonnie D. Where does yesterday's future land? When it finally shakes your hand, right at the edge of a brand new screen. Blink once and you know what I mean. The old world folds into a spark, one little switch in the dark, and tomorrow's knocking, just minutes away.
Here we go.
Can you hear it rocking? Can you hear it say, technology evolution?
I have to teach you to say technology. There we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm the Bonnie D. Happy to be here with three. I won't say old friends. I'll say good friends. A couple of them have cars behind them, and one of them is on the beach. We're going to be talking today about the future of cars, call it automotives, anything with wheels that takes you somewhere, and AI. Remember, this is the show where we talk about benefits, opportunities, possibilities. We're not doing any smashing, bashing, or trashing. I'm delighted to have my three guests with me, and I have a special introduction. So, gentlemen, I didn't see anybody dancing. Simon, were you dancing in that opening?
Yeah.
You were? I guess I
was wiggling
busy.
my feet.
Well, oh, that was Tom. Tom, were you dancing on the beach? Tom, do they allow dancing on the beach where you are?
They do.
They do. Okay, Vic, were you doing something? I was
I was
busy.
moving my head.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure that's a requirement of being on the show. Okay, kids, here we go. Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now. The future of cars plus AI. Vrooom. We'll explore how. Bonnie D on her scarlet mic is heading your way with Simon Meitz, wave hello. Tom Madonna, wave hello. And Vic Inglese. Am I saying that right, Vic? Do I finally get that right, Inglese?
Yes.
Oh, thank goodness. On board today, as automotive powers into a new AI-fueled frontier, will AI help vehicles learn, adapt, and safely steer? From smart factories to roads that think ahead, will data and AI design reshape where our tires tread, or even how they tread? Tune in, watch, or listen. We're live streaming here on Zoom. Join the ride as we explore the automotive AI boom. And now I have a special gift for each of you. You know what's coming, and Simon, you're first. Born to entrepreneurial parents, Simon learned early how bold ideas grow. From Munich to his grandmother's Austrian farm where woods and wild adventures would flow. His tailor mom inspired craftsmanship, imagination, detail, and design, while his dad showed resilience and wore mismatched shoes while crossing the gymnastics line. Across London, Frankfurt, and Dubai, Simon built a global strategic view, shaping government agendas, launching EY Spark, and co-founding EY Carbon, too. From Strategy 4.0 to circular economies, he turns complexity into plans, building bridges among innovators, policymakers, startups, and global brands. Today, as the founder of Nature Credits, biodiversity is where his mission leads, using AI and science to help restore ecosystems while rewarding measurable deeds. A mountaineer, mentor, and dad, Simon still seeks the next ambitious height, bringing people, nature, strategy, and technology together to build a future bright. Simon, I hope you like that.
I always do. I mean, but that's a new great one. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Tom, you're next. Born in Boulder, Colorado, Tom found math and sports were his style. Then Texas was home, where his automotive fascination began to compile. At 12, Grandpa's Ford pickup put young Tom behind the wheel. With 3 speeds on the column and a lifelong car passion became very real. From Midland's Friday Night Lights to UT Austin, Tom kept moving ahead. Through Coopers and Lybrand, PwC, IBM, and more, his technology career spread. With 3 advanced degrees and 38 plus years helping global businesses thrive, he's worked across 48 states, 39 countries. Talk about professional drive. Today at SAP, Tom helps industries find efficiencies, profitability, and more. And as an adjunct professor, he brings real-world lessons through the classroom door. After owning 44 plus, I'm not sure the exact count, vehicles, there's still one Porsche dream he hasn't made true. Who better to explore cars plus AI? What's next on roads, old and new? Welcome, Tom. I hope you like that.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay. And Vic, you're next. Born in Montreal, I'll say it the French way, Montreal, Vic reached the Bronx before he turned one, where buses and subways moved the city and cars meant freedom and fun. At 9 a.m. on his 16th birthday, birth certificate firmly in hand, Vic raced to the DMV for his learner permit, with driver's ed already planned. His first car, a '66 Mercury Comet Caliente, launched adventures galore. Swapping engines and stories with pals made him love automobiles even more. After studying finance and accounting, Vic built a career where business met tech. From Wall Street and SAP to global consulting, he learned what makes enterprises connect. Then Mercedes and Daimler Chrysler put automotive transformation directly in his range, followed by work with GM, Toyota, and suppliers, navigating an industry of change. Now bringing decades of finance, SAP, and automotive experience into view, Vic explores how cars plus AI will reinvent the road ahead and our driving experience too. Vic, I hope you like that.
Very nice.
Okay, so let me finish this. So with our visionary panelists, the road ahead looks bright as AI transforms automotive with road-worthy might. From factories to highways where smart systems ramp into view, we'll explore how AI is reshaping what vehicles and drivers can do. So kids, how'd I do? What do you think? You like them? Okay,
Yes.
good.
Thank you.
Okay,
Great.
I'm glad. I'll tell Sylvie that you appreciate she collaborated with me. Let's go around the table and let's get an update from each of you. I can't in possibly 12 lines tell what you've all been up to very recently in terms of let's focus on automotive, but I know Simon you want to talk about nature credits a little bit. So Simon, I'm putting you briefly on speaker view. Why don't you bring us up to date? Take 3 minutes and then we'll go around the table. Go.
I mean, we're as you said, we founded Nature Credits. The team is pushing ahead in terms of our scientific approach to measure biodiversity, build new increase biodiversity in different areas and projects right now. So this is really exciting, and particularly in Europe, as you know, you can see the regulation moving more and more ahead and getting more and more concrete in that area. So we are looking to a quite bright and upcoming market in this area.
Anything new with cars in your, because you're here to talk about automotive today. Anything you want to say about any new cars in your life?
No new cars in my life. Old car in my life. Happy with my old car. Hey, my car can go wherever I need to go. I mean, it's I don't know. Are we allowed to say the brand, or is it
Sure, of
advertising
course.
then?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
you can.
a bit older Audi Q7, so you can go with it wherever you want. I'm taking it quite often into off-roads and into the woods, so I really love it. And if it gets one more scratch, it's fine, and it doesn't hurt me too much.
A man in his car. Okay, let's go to you, Tom. Why don't you give us an update what you've been up to? Go ahead. Any new cars in your life? Talk to me.
Well, cars, yes. I'm probably after the last time we talked, but we'll get to that one first or second. So up to what's new. I took over a couple years back the Latin America team. So I not only have all the services team, but in Americas, but also the Latin America industries. So it's now basically covering everything that we do in all industry and all components, which has made it an interesting and lively conversation to say the least. Personal note, we're now up to 5 grandkids. So we have two in 23 and 3 in 25. We're taking all of them to Disney in October, so that's getting on the bucket list. As far as cars go, we are taking what I call the quote quote new cars, although we've had both of them for a year. We're taking one of them, the LX 700H to Destin. So the reason for the palm tree is tomorrow morning we start for a 10-day trip out there. And it'll be the first time we get to drive the car besides we going to Houston and Austin, first time we're actually taking it out on the road. But as far as that, those were not the newest ones. So after having these cars for about 2 months and having agent four-legged individuals around the household. At that point in time, six four-legged individuals around the household, and not being able to get in and out of that vehicle since it's so tall, my wife decided she wanted a dog vehicle to basically take the dogs back and forth to the vet, to the groomers, to the boarders, etc. So I then went out and found the lowest vehicle that fits the most dogs in it, that's made to bear, which is a Mini Cooper Clubman, and ultimately it is 2 inches lower than the Toyota RAV4. So we can now fit four Labs, one Maltese, and one Bichon, all in that. Unfortunately, about 2 weeks ago, about coming up with 3 weeks ago, we lost the Bichon. That was my father-in-law's dog. We had to put her down. She was going blind and running into things and falling into the pool and had other health issues. So we're down to five, but the car has the license plate on it, which is DAWGCAR, and it is basically the souped up Clubman. So that is the other vehicle that got added since our last conversation.
Oh, going to the dogs. That was very descriptive, Tom. I appreciate that. Yes, thank you very, very much. Okay, Vic, it's up to you. Why don't you land this plane for us? What's up with you and how have you been? Vic, welcome back.
Thank you. Been great. Just rejoined IBM. Now actually collaborating with some members of Tom's team at SAP. Enjoying it very much. A big change back to the more structured and more professional lifestyle. Did replace my vehicle, picked up a Cayenne Coupe, which was one of the cars I really wanted and finally got it. And I did some negotiation. So it was a very well-planned thing, and I don't have to worry about fitting the dogs in, they fit. So that's not a problem.
Okay. And what are you doing in your new job? Are you traveling? Are you staying where you are? Where are you
Traveling.
located now? Yep. Give us an idea. Where are you traveling? Where is it taking you?
Well, I've been traveling to New York. I've been to San Francisco. So we'll see, but it'll be domestic. I know I've got a short trip to Miami for a conference, and then there's also a conference in New York in October. So number of different things.
Very good. Very good. Well, I'm glad you all landed here with me on Technology Revolution. I appreciate that. Let's briefly do our fictional quotes. I've asked you each, as always, for a fictional quote from a movie or a TV show or a song lyric. We've got an interesting potpourri here. Simon, I'm going to start with you. And I had no idea what this was all about, but I'll just give it briefly. The character is named Mr. Peanut Butter, voiced by Paul F. Tompkins. The show is BoJack Horseman, an adult animated tragic comedy TV series from 2014 to 2020. 76 episodes plus a special created by Raphael Bob Waxberg. And the quote I'm about to read is a famous running catchphrase, usually said by Mr. Peanut Butter when he unexpectedly runs into BoJack or finds them both in the same place. And fans use the quote online when two unrelated things or characters appear together. There actually is a meme. The voices in the show are in the movie or the TV show are Will Arnett, Amy Sedaris, Alison Brie, Paul F. Tompkins, and Aaron Paul. Very, very interesting. Okay, and I'm going to read this now, and it's 6 words. What is this? A crossover episode? Okay, Simon, what is this all about? What does it have to do with AI and cars? Talk to me.
I mean, first of all, we're talking about AI, we're talking about automotive. So that's already 2 layers. And I'm now trying to add the biodiversity layer there as well. So it's 3 topics that we would normally have maybe different conversations about mixed into one show. We have automotive, where we're normally talking about autonomous driving. We talked about safety in our previous shows. We talked about software-defined vehicles, batteries, efficiencies. We got the AI layer with the data predictions and optimization parts. And biodiversity is now all about conservation, forests, wildlife, ecosystems. And well, this is what my predictions today are going to be about. And I think it's going to be quite exciting and how those 3 topics in the world actually mix and how they can, well, improve each each other.
Thank you. That was very well done. Very scholarly, sir. I haven't heard you talk like that quite before. Thank you very much. Let's go to Tom's quote. This is an interesting one. Alexander Hale, played by Simon Liu, Liu, the Copenhagen Test, 2025 sci-fi spy thriller TV series created by Thomas Brandon for Peacock. Let's see, it premiered in December, well, just last year, December 27, 2025, but it was canceled after one season. The plot is intelligence analyst Alexander Hale discovers his brain has been hacked, giving unseen hackers live audio and video access to everything he experiences. Sounds like a car. The conflict is caught between his suspicious government agency and the hidden hackers. He must pretend everything is normal to find the culprits. Here is the quote, another short one. I don't know who I can trust anymore. Okay, Tom, take it away. What does this have to do with our topic?
Well, we talked in multiple shows about the prediction of flying cars, the prediction of autonomous vehicles, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5 execution, autonomous models, how multiple of the vendors are now releasing things. But what we haven't talked about are some of the cases that are starting to partner up. Who owns the data? Where is the data action? What happens when something occurs? The first Zook, car hit a passenger through and a pedestrian walking through a guard walk. So there are a lot of things going on right now, and as we start to get into this, a lot of things are good, a lot of things we need to be watch out, and we need to verify. So trust, comply, and verify.
Thank you very much. Oh, we're really highbrow here today. I'm very impressed. Can't wait to see what Vic does with his. Vic, you have picked a quote from a movie that actually debuted in 1939, I believe, one day this week. It was August 11th or 12th. The movie is The Wizard of Oz, the original musical fantasy film. According to the U.S. Library of Congress, it's the most seen film in cinematic history. I would have thought it would have been vying with Gone with the Wind. Dorothy Gale, of course, played by Judy Garland, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, based on L. Frank Baum's 1900 novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, primarily directed by Victor Fleming, who took over the troubled he left to go take over the troubled production of Gone with the Wind. He walked out. So they had a thing with people coming and going for production. Judy Garland, Frank Morgan, Ray Bolger, Jack Haley, Burt Lahr, Billy Burke, Margaret Hamilton. And let's see, it was celebrated for its 3-strip Technicolor fantasy storytelling, musical score, memorable characters, nominated for 5 Oscars. It won Best Song for Over the Rainbow and Best Original Score, and Judy Garland got an Academy Juvenile Award. It didn't make a profit in the beginning. It became MGM's most expensive production at the time. And here's the quote, and we love it, and it gets used about 25 times a year on all my shows, and I still love it, Vic, and I still like you too. And the quote is, Toto, I've a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. Okay, who's Toto? Who's talking to Toto, and what's this got to do with cars and AI? Go, Vic.
It's a brave new world where, you come from the black and white Kansas stark landscape into a fantasy land of Oz. It's like we're coming from, as Tom started out, 3 on the tree on a pickup truck, now to completely autonomous vehicles where you press a button, it takes you where you want to go. You look at the technology that's built in, it's nothing like our grandparents had ever, or parents had even seen. And I would find it difficult to see those people getting in some of this new technology.
Very interesting. It reminds me of, you could have also used the David Bowie song, Changes, Turn and Face the Strange, although it's stranger, but most of us say turn and face the strange. Yes, absolutely. Very well done, gentlemen. I was giving you each 3 minutes. You took about 48 seconds apiece, so we're way ahead of schedule here. That means a lot of predictions. So let's kick this off with, and this is going to be our roundtable. So I'm going to read Simon's prediction number 1, and then I'm going to ask you to unpack it, Simon. And then I will ask Tom and Vic, both of you, to chime in, agree or disagree, embellish, or say, I have no idea what he's talking about. That's okay, too. So we're just friends here, just having a good time. All right, I'm just trying to lead this ship out. Okay, so Simon says, AI will add a new layer to automotive safety, ecological, ADAS, Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. Brief and to the point. Simon, expand this, unpack it for me, please, and then we'll see what the other panelists have to say. Go.
Well, I think that advanced driver assistance systems are or have been or are still today mainly about human safety, human security, and the car's intelligent focus is more on, hey, is there another vehicle in front of me? Is there some pedestrian stepping into the road, a cyclist, a blind spot? We are talking already about identifying maybe a deer stepping onto the road. So we have seen some tests that Volvo has done, for example, that are allowing the cars to detect larger animals such as deer, such as moose, and warn the driver. But the problem or the state of the systems, I mean, it's useful, but it's still quite reactive. So we react to a threat that's currently seen on the road and hopefully react a bit faster than the normal human driver maybe would do. And my prediction is that we will take that system at least one step further to move from a pure detection to a predictive system. So if a vehicle is combining different data sources, if we're talking about seasonal data, we're talking about weather data, wildlife data, data from other vehicles, of course, as well, about wildlife crossings, I said already about warnings from other vehicles, then we can change the focus from, oh my God, there's a deer, an animal in front of me right now, to a prediction of the car saying, hey, there is a very high chance that there might be a deer crossing in the next few seconds. And then the car can already react to that, can reduce the speed. And I think this prediction is, in my mind, actually quite close to the reality we already have. So we have the cameras, we have all the sensors, we have HD maps, we have connected vehicles, and now it's all about bringing those data streams, those data points together, mixing it up, sprinkling a bit of ecological intelligence on top, and then we have something that's quite new and will help us to factor in economical threats, deers moving around, because it's not only us, it's not only humans running around, it's a lot of animals running around, and the car won't only just see the deer, it will, in some sense, predict where a deer or an animal will be before it's actually there.
Anticipation.
So here you go.
Thank you. And I think the movie Bambi debuted this week in 1942. I do this for my Say What show every morning. Tom wants to talk first, then Vic. Tom, what do you think?
So it's an interesting topic, and I think several things you kind of double click on this. First, my car, I would say, is 3+. If you really talk to the OEM, they would say it's 4, but if I call it the bubble, so you turn the thing on and it's the bubble. So anywhere that the sensor can hit, and there's 200 and some odd sensors on this vehicle, anywhere the sensor hits, the car will react accordingly. So if you're coming up speed, it will slow it down. If you're basically being speed up, someone's coming behind you and you're slowing down, it will speed the car up. If you are coming up and you need to move lanes, it will move lanes. All of that is there. Now, my vehicle and my wife's vehicle, besides a couple options, are pretty much the same vehicle. Hers is white, mine's black. My bubble is always off. Now, I do put the predictive, braking and predictive execution on cruise, but I don't put the bubble on. She rides around the whole time with the bubble on. So what I find interesting is you can be 3 car lengths out, and whether or not you're basically going to stop, the car's stopping. So at this point in time, you can basically take your hand, you basically hold it, take your feet off the pedals, and the car will stop, pull up, 1 car length behind, stop and start. When it gets ready, it will then basically tell you you're ready to go. So it's doing a lot of that for you. The problem I find is that is not where I react. And in some cases, I react faster. So if you think of some of these braking systems, you start braking and then you get the big black. If you're watching and paying attention, you're fine. These systems are really good for when you're not paying attention or when someone else isn't paying attention and you don't see it. And those things are really where we're starting to see a lot of that come out. But again, it's still an interesting process if you're not used to it. And these aren't just the old rumble seats. Hey, you're going over the lines and therefore you're getting the little rumble, get back in your lane. These are things that really control the vehicle itself. On the opposite side, Simon did bring up the piece, and I did bring up my initial monologue in regards to there are problems. These things are not foolproof. We have to worry about what that means. And the other piece that's interesting, and it's going to be a prediction I'm going to go to, is the data. Who owns the data? Because today, having sat on several boards of several companies, several startups that were building out those technology traffic stop integration points to the vehicles. Vehicle comes up to a corner. It basically interacting with the camera. Camera's interacting with the right hand or the left hand lane on people not coming. All that interaction is happening and feeding it back. Guess what? You have a problem. Who owns the data? What's the interface? Is the interface owned by the stop to the car or from the car to the stop sign? And all of those things come in play, and no one is playing. If you thought it was difficult for all those tier one suppliers to basically deal with all the OEMs in regards to EDI, guess what? Now we have this issue going on to the next data structure. So I agree, the data is there out there, the data is being used. Some of my predictions have come true, some of my predictions are getting better. As we use the data, we're going to find that we need to continue to rely, verify, and comply.
Thank you. Owning the data. Interesting. If a car somehow reports to an insurance company or an agency, a local agency, that you hit a deer, is it the car's fault or is it your fault? Interesting. Let's hear what Vic has to say. Vic?
Well, one thing is important is noticing that this is not done within the context of the vehicle. It's done within the clouds. There's always transmissions between the vehicle, and there's data being shared. So using Simon's example, what that also allows you to do is take the other data points. You can take other cameras that are in the area and get that information as well. You can look at, if you're in an area where there are animals, there usually are tracking cameras and trail cameras, and also a number of other things that can let people know where things are. And so now you're taking data that's not only being input to the car, but from its surrounding area. So it helps those predictions. It's really fantastic. But then I'll take the other side of the coin and say, I'm worried about autonomous driving until I see it work in Bangalore at rush hour. Because if you haven't been to Bangalore and seen the way traffic moves there, I don't think a car will be intelligent enough to make a decision. It might stand at the same corner for an hour because of so much people coming back and forth in front of it. You're laughing, Simon.
Been there, done it, got the T-shirt. I haven't done it in Bangalore, but I've done it in like heavy traffic in central Tehran. So, wow, yeah, you just drive. And for some reason, it does work. You're right.
I remember I was just going to say, I remember living in Cambridge, Massachusetts years ago. Vic can probably relate to this coming from New York. And I lived there briefly. I was a student. My husband at the time was a student. And there were roundabouts. And sometimes 4 or 5, Tom knows, 4 or 5 lanes coming into the roundabout. And the question was, who has the damn right of way? Is it the car who got to the stop sign first? Is it the car who got to the roundabout first? Who waits? How long do you wait before everybody else takes their turn and more cars come into the roundabout? I thought it was the worst driving in the world, and it wasn't rush hour in Bangalore. It was just Cambridge, Massachusetts. So anyway, memories come back. Simon, you wanted to continue. Go ahead.
Maybe there's two things. I think Mick is going to talk about later a bit more, I guess. But data sharing across brands, across systems is sadly in our world a really, really difficult thing to manage and to accomplish. But let's say, of course, you can always think the car is getting smarter. Each car has their own sensors that are getting better and better. But at some point, I think you have so much benefits if you move from one car to external or sensors outside as well. And I mean, there's one example where I would see, hey, around the corner, there's a car. There was just a deer. The car had to stop. If this gives the information to the car following them, yeah, to avoid a crash, that would be amazing. But the problem is, what if it's the one is a Volvo and the other one is a BMW? Will those two brands work together? Maybe not. I mean, the other field of like a prediction could be just a bit more generic, where you think about the wildlife seasons, the mating seasons, etc. The seasons where you have from a completely different economic senses. You know where the wildlife commutes, when it's most likely to commute, and just gives you a bit of a warning in the car and reduces the speed by a certain amount, so a crash is less likely. And I mean, in my mind, I'm a quite business-driven guy. So if there's numbers, if there's zeros, if there's dollars and like behind it, it's always useful. I mean, less cars means, of course, less insurance claims. Yeah, less people hurt, less animals hurt, less cars broken. I think overall it's a win-win-win. So let's hope we
Okay.
can get there as soon as possible.
I'm going to give an example, real life example, based on a little bit of what each of you just said. When I moved here, I bought a corner property in Loudon, Tennessee. I won't tell you the name of the village. And I didn't know that there was a little forsythia tree on the corner that people had been complaining about. It wasn't very tall. It was about 2.5 feet above the ground, okay, on the corner. I was visited by the powers that be. They call it a POA here, not an HOA. Uh, the Property Owners Association. Okay, we have an HOA too. And they wanted to fine me. They said people were complaining that this tree was almost causing fatal accidents. We are in a highly dense residential area. And my corner, apparently a woman came and was at the corner and couldn't see a car coming on the other side approaching her. Now, if we had a system in her car that would say, car approaching, do not proceed, I wouldn't have had the visit from the POA cop telling me to get rid of the damn tree. It was only about 3 feet tall. So I had to take it out, but I put new planning in. But I met the woman and she said, it's very dangerous. And I said, I just drove there. I pushed my car. I took up right to the corner and I took a left look and a right look and I proceeded when there were no cars coming. But apparently certain people can't, they aren't capable of that. So the question is, it doesn't have to be rush hour in Tehran. It doesn't have to be a deer in the road. It could be people in a corner in a upper middle class neighborhood who want to take a right turn and they're afraid they're going to get hit on the left. I rest my case. Let's move on. Thank you, Simon. Great prediction. We took it in 100 directions. And Tom, just for the record, I've been talking about who owns the data on this show when it was the future of cars and game changers back in SAP. And you know some of the people who are no longer with us really in this world who were my guests. And we've been just dabbling at that topic for about 12 years. So,
Yep.
but it's time more now and it's more important now. Tom, I'm going to your prediction number one. This is going to take us in a different direction. Today, the automotive industry, Tom says, achieves over 83% materials recovery. Metals, plastics, glass, rubber, batteries, lead, textile fluids from about 75% less than 2 years back through the circular sustainability programs. This is near and dear to Simon's heart as well. With the help of AI, large global OEMs continually push these initiatives to over 95% by the end of next year. I'm going to stop there and let you explain this better, Tom. Go ahead.
So you start to look at robotics and mechanics, the execution of cameras, the execution of AI, the inspection of what things are going on as things, parts, pieces are going through recycling. They are easily recognizable and easily pulled. So ultimately, you start to think about the process. It becomes easier to, one, identify the product, pull the product out, and then recycle it if you don't have to worry about all of the contaminations that would go with it. Let it be for plastics with metals, metals with plastics, like say. So as you start to think through that, this technology has allowed that to be automatically put in play and then have the sensors deal with the process and the mechanics deal with the separation as compared to being a manual task that's going on. So I think one of the things you're going to see with AI not only is the execution within the vehicle, but how the vehicle is going to be made, how the vehicle is going to be designed, and eventually how the vehicle is going to be serviced.
Interesting. Reclaiming. Okay. Vic, what do you think? And then we'll go to Simon.
Yeah, I think it's a critical item to think about. Also, though, it's also, as Tom said, as they're building the vehicle, they're planning for this as well. It's no longer putting things together and worrying about it later. It's now in the design. It's just like, if you look at the concept of the new hydrogen fuel cell vehicles now, they're looking at being able to have compact pods that can go right in a 5-second fuel change, because now they're thinking of design, not having it to have to stop somewhere to be loaded, but you can actually just pull a canister, put it in. It's supposed to be good for 982 miles. So, it's just all about the intelligent design that's going into these things and predicted. And again, it will also come down to predictive maintenance when something has to change, knowing what's in that so you can prepare for the right disposal of that when it is changed.
Or prepare for reusing and repurposing those materials somewhere. If it's not just disposal, it's that's circular. Simon, what do you think?
Um, I had this discussion already a few times, and I think the only thing you have to consider when you're mentioning like design cars to be more recyclable, like the circular design, etc. The shelf life of a car, I think, is about 12, 15 years, more or less. So it takes quite a lot of time for a circular car design, for example, to have an impact. And I think something you have to definitely look at in parallel is like how you're designing your recycling or disassembling like deep production, or how do you call this, the manufacturing, so the dismantling companies. And I think you might have, and that's a question mark maybe for the others as well, the development in a more automized dismantling and recycling. So at the end of life of the vehicle might have a faster impact than the car design itself, to be honest.
Interesting. Tom, you want to comment back on that?
I think it's you can see that now happening with construction. So if you think about and I'll even date myself. The EDS headquarters went down this week. So I'm not sure of those who remember EDS, but AT&T bought the headquarter campus of EDS and demolished the north tower. So if you ever remember looking at it, it was a big cross, and both the east and the west have already been knocked down, but the north tower is what basically blew up on Sunday morning. I believe the south tower is being blown up this weekend. Every one of them is being demolished based upon the execution of what's going to be pulled from the raw materials that were left. So as everything gets collapsed, over 85% of that concrete and concrete dust is going to be recycled and put right back into concrete and going right back on the site. So they're not going to be re-going through that. Now, of the iron and the metal, about 50% of that's going to be recycled and put right back in. So long and short, there's a lot of processes going now within the engineering construction organizations that are doing that on site and execution. You don't see that with auto. You see, you still have this big, huge salvage centers and the execution models and LQK and several of those companies are still making money on a part and pull type of location. But as you start to go through the demolition portions and the execution, you're going to start to see more of these recycle organizations come into play. They're going to become profitable. And because they are profitable, they're going to start to spout up, and you're going to start to see more in that start to occur. You've already seen it with things like water bottles and how we're doing recycling of clothes, et cetera. So it's just a matter of time before we start to move upstream.
We don't have any recycle bins here in my community because the local garbage haulers decided it wasn't profitable for them to take a separate bin and put the plastic and the glass and everything in it, and they did away with it. So all the garbage goes in one place. I just wanted you to know. I've been here 3.5 years. Yes, it's very, very interesting.
I
Yes.
mean, I I have even a better story. I went to a supermarket. I'm not saying names right now. So we have to do different holes for like glass, for plastic, and like
Uh-huh.
other recyclable materials. Turns out below that is just one box. That's it.
Yep.
So it
And all
creates
we
the
have is,
illusion. It
yes,
creates this sustainable illusion for the customers, and
yes.
actually it's been all thrown away in one go.
And
I had to take a picture of this. I still have it on my phone. It's crazy.
all we have is one box for the plastic bags. That's it. That's absolutely it. And no, the big debate, Vic, you may remember this from your New York days, is whether superintendents who have the recyclable bins in multifamily business buildings, apartment buildings, co-ops, what they're doing with it once it goes down in the basement. Are they really putting it into separate places to leave the building, or are they just all goes in together because it's a lot of trouble. We're going to get in trouble here. Let's move on. Thank you. Good discussion. Okay, Vic, I'm going to your prediction number 1. Let me read this one. You say the shift to AI defined vehicles and quote, air quotes, agentic cockpits. Vehicles are moving beyond simply being software defined to becoming fully AI defined. Future in-car experiences will be powered by multimodal generative AI assistants that do more than respond to basic voice commands. These systems will anticipate user needs, offering proactive recommendations for navigation, maintenance, charging, while monitoring driver well-being. Much of this will shift toward edge AI, allowing cars to process critical data locally for faster, safer decision making without relying entirely on cloud connectivity. You've touched on about 20 different things here, but I'm interested in the driver well-being and multimodal in-car experience. Vic, you want to take us there?
Yeah, so this kind of continues on Simon's initial point that the car is going to have a learning capability. One of the things that are in vehicles now is they actually monitor the driver, and it will tell whether the driver's tired, and it will come back and say, please take a rest. You're sluggish. They're watching your eye movements. They're watching your control movements. So this is part of that experience. But then also, it's also looking at what can the vehicle itself do to raise awareness, whether it will raise the volume of the stereo to get attention, change the temperature within the vehicle to get attention. So there's all various things that'll happen based on what it's reading about that driver and learning about what's going on in the vehicle and what can it do to get better attention, or potentially shift to a self-driving mode because they've lost the engagement of the driver.
Interesting, interesting. Well, there are times when I think we've all been very tired and we're hitting our cheeks and we're banging our heads and we're wiggling our toes and trying to stay awake. And I wonder what the car would do other than just stop and pull over. Let's talk around the table. Simon, what do you think?
Um, yeah, I think the sensors in terms of understanding the mood and well, the well-being of the driver is getting more and more sophisticated, of course. Yeah. But maybe but I think the more and more people even talk to their cars, communicate with their cars. Maybe they can even hear different tones of voice, subtones between the lines, and I'm pushing this one step further. It's not about only
Yep.
safety in the car, but also maybe psychological well-being. Yeah. General issues with family, friends, or whatever it is that
Wait, can you see a
could
pop-up
raise
on the
red flags.
dashboard? Can you see a pop-up on the dashboard? 3 divorce attorneys are at the next exit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had to.
And
Tom
by
does
the
a
way,
little
you
too
forgot
amused.
to feed your dog.
Yes, yes, interesting. Well-being. Simon, I interrupted you, but I just had to say that,
No, don't worry. No, don't worry at all. Like, it was just like an additional layer I wanted to add. But in generally,
yeah.
I agree with Vic. It's a bit, well,
And
it feels a bit
who
crazy.
owns
It
that
feels a bit
conversation?
Big Brother is watching
Yeah.
you, like, to be
Who,
honest. All these cameras now in the cars to check if your eyes are open, closed, how often you're blinking, maybe how you're moving, where you're looking. Uh, yeah, well,
conversation mood. Tom,
for the greater good, is it?
who owns that data? What if you're involved in a big business deal and somebody gets a hold of that mood analysis from your car and they say they're in no shape to be leading this new company? I don't know how bad it would be. Tom, weigh in on unmute, please, and weigh in on what we're talking about, please. What do you think? You're muted still, Tom.
Unfortunately, the dogs were going in and out.
It's
My wife
okay.
came home.
It's okay.
Yeah, I think the big thing that's interesting about the data and the execution, my vehicle today is one level below one of the things I brought up on your show a couple years back. And that was the system was being demoed in Japan, which was a full emergency system structure for driver. So if the driver basically was dinged and didn't respond to the ding, that they were not paying attention, the vehicle would shake a bit, let it be the wheels, et cetera. There'd be a little bit of stopping and starting. The driver still didn't respond, so the vehicle would then take over the drive and move the vehicle off onto the side of the road. Upon stopping and parking the vehicle would then call 911 and then basically report where its GPS tracker was to emergency control. This was all to basically go through the process of heart attack, execution, whatever that might be, epilepsy, seizure. So that was there. What I have right now in my vehicle is one step below that. And that structure, if I wanted to, I could buy it and actually put it in. So it is good. Now, again, going back to the same conversation, that's something it'd be great if it's there. The opposite side, if I'm driving down the road and I happen to see the new 7-Eleven being built and I look like this and I come back, by the time I come back in that split second, I've already had the car dinging at me, telling me I was distracted and ultimately something was going through because I spent more than 1 or 2 seconds moving back in regards to it. So there is a level of complexity there that you need to go through. Who owns the data? Right now, the OEM owns the data. So therefore, if the OEM basically gets sued, the OEM will then come back to you and basically pull that data out on their legal discovery. Long and short, I'm not positive that's going to be the long or the last time we'll hear about this topic. And I think we'll probably talk about it later in the conversation.
Okay, well, we're almost done, so we're going to have to schedule a part 2 or part 9 or wherever we are. But let's take it one step further. OEM owns the data, Tom. What about the insurance company? How many times did you look at the new 7-Eleven and the car had to warn you? What is your insurance level? Are you insurable? Does the premium go?
Yeah,
Go
the
ahead.
issue there comes back to where is that data? So the reason that you get the data get back to the insurance company is you are actually volunteering to put the monitor into your vehicle. So therefore, that's the only way they're going to physically get it. If you don't do it, then they're not going to do that. So long and short, the execution model is, are you giving them rights based upon putting the chip in or not? Right now, they can't do that. They could go back as a class action suit and sue the OEM if something were to become apparent that a particular vehicle, et cetera, was causing a problem versus an individual.
Thank
And
you.
the other thing to bring up there is the fact that depending on the vehicle, it's not an OEM system. For example, Aston Martin uses Apple CarPlay as their complete dashboard. In Volvo, you have Google providing the maps. So now you've got a question of, is it the OEM or is it the content provider?
Interesting. So what do I have in my BMW Z4? I think it's CarPlay. I think it's Apple CarPlay.
You have a BMW system, but it interfaces to Apple CarPlay.
Yeah. Okay. I thought so. Okay. Very interesting. We'll tell some stories after. Okay. I think we have time. We got about 8 minutes left. I'm going to go to one more prediction from Simon. And this is your prediction number 2, and it's wide open. I'm not sure where you're going to take it, but let's see. So take about 2 minutes and then we'll go around the table. You say AI will move automotive navigation beyond fastest and greenest routes or routes, depending on where you live. So where is it going to take us if it's not fastest and greenest? Where are we going? Simon?
I mean, it's beyond. I think AI is about optimizing things and originally, of course, also optimizing navigation. So the initial questions we were asking us is, how do I get from A to B the fastest? What's the fastest routes? Then at some point they said, hey, particularly with electric vehicles, it's about, hey, which route could be the most energy efficient or generally the most fuel efficient route? Which is the best route to the next charging station that works well in terms of comfort as well? And now just if you're imagining 2 different routes, like route A, that is a few minutes faster, 2-3 minutes faster. Route B maybe slightly longer, but avoids some kind of a wildlife corridor in the at dusk, and or some important breeding ground of animals in a few weeks of the year where they shouldn't be disturbed. And I think with AI and the sensors we have today, we can make this additional dimension that was largely invisible for a driver visible, and add this additional factor to the navigation system. So AI combines, as I said it before already, we have like weather data, we have noises, we have wildlife data, all the data that are relevant for an economic ecological impact that we have. And it's not necessarily about forcing that other route, but simply like suggesting a route that considers that ecological trade-off in my mind as well. So this might be 3 minutes longer, but you have a lower environmental impact. And that makes that strategic shift then where a person starts looking beyond its own interests, maybe beyond their own interest and towards ecological impact as well, and what's happening not only in the car but outside in the environment as
Thank
well.
you.
And
I want to know why Vic and Tom were laughing, because I had it on a speaker view with Simon and I couldn't see the both of you. Was it when he said, I don't know if this is 3 minutes?
No.
Good.
So the challenge is,
Okay.
who makes that decision? Can you be regulated into the environmental decision versus being the choice of the driver? That's where it gets scary.
Okay. Tom?
Tom, go ahead.
I was going a completely different direction. I mean, at this point in time, AI and Waze and maps and everything else, we use it all the time. The issue, and then going back to Simon's point in regards to, fastest route, most economic route, at this point in time, I've seen some things in countries that I've been in lately where it wasn't a road. So I'm not sure exactly how I got crowdsourced to go this particular direction or that direction. Let it be someone's driveway, someone's alleyway, the public beach. You go down this whole process. This is the fastest route. Turn right, turn left. Well, you're now on a beach in a rental car. Okay, that's the problem. If so there's a lot of things right now that it's great at what it does and it's trying to get you there as quick as you can, but it's not making some interesting decisions. It's making some interesting suggestions. The decision's still coming back to the driver.
Okay. I'm looking at the clock. We've got about 2.5 minutes left. So what I'd like to do is go around the table and have you each give one concluding prediction for cars and AI, your favorite prediction. Let's see if we can make it something positive or provocative is fine. And then stick around for a few minutes and I'll see if we can get us all back in October or November for a part 2. I think there's a lot more we didn't cover today. I only have an hour. So let's see. So Simon, would be your favorite prediction about something good about AI and automotive? What do you think?
I mean, I think that's basically the overarching theme in my predictions today is that the data is going to increase with the amount of sensors, with the amount of cars that we have, and AI is an optimizing tool in some sorts, optimizing different data streams, balancing different needs, etc. And if we actually add this additional environmental layer there as well, and biodiversity layer, that can optimize like against more dimensions than we had previously, and that's, I think, a great thing and a benefit for all of us.
Thank you. Tom, 1 minute, go.
So I'm going to go back to a prediction I use all the time and a quote I use all the time. We need a bigger boat. So for those that know that, you go back to the 70s prediction that Rod basically had as they were trying to basically kill Jaws. The reason I bring this up, we need a bigger boat. We need bigger data center. We need bigger execution, et cetera. One of the predictions I didn't get to is how many of those sensor predictions or sensor conversations we're having today. Today, I had this conversation 5 years ago on your show. We were using 15 or 18% of that. We're using 95% of that data today. Now, of that 95% of that data, how much is actually being done or something that's basically allowing down, maintenance, and you go down the list. All of those things are being done. So the applications, the business use, except the data is there, we now can get to it. We now have capacity, we have computing power, we can get to it. What do we need a bigger boat for? Bigger data centers, more data, more execution.
Controversial. We'll cover that on the next part. Vic, I can give you 45 seconds. Go.
So my concern is that we're going to be so dependent on all of this. If something happens to the surrounding infrastructure, will people be able to get around? Will the vehicles function in that world? And that's an important concept to think about.
And my question is, will we still enjoy driving? Oh my goodness, did anybody even talk about that? Will we still enjoy the love of getting in that car, putting the top down, the windows down, going around and saying, freedom, let's say. I don't know if we have it anymore. Let's play the outro music before I get in deep trouble here. Let's see, where are we? Technology, close. Yeah, okay.
Here's Buddy D.
Come on, dance with me. Stick around. We'll talk for a minute.
Where does yesterday's
Thank you, Simon.
future land?
Thank you, Tom. Thank you,
When
Vic.
it finally
I appreciate all of
shakes
you.
your hand, right at the edge of a brand